Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Isaiah as always, and today I'm going to be continuing my top 10 list. This time we are doing top 10 running backs in the league because I said last week that I was going to do that because I did receivers last week. So yeah, let's get into it. Top 10 running backs. Don't get too mad, I guess. At number 10 we have Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor has not been able to return back to the glory days of his gorgeous 2021 season. I was a Jonathan Taylor fantasy owner that year, so absolutely loved the work that he did that year. So he hasn't been able to return to that. But is it partially because of injuries? Probably. I still think Taylor's one of the most dominant physical runners in the league, as well as he's got that breakaway speed that just is really underrated about him. I just think he's been put in a bad situation, but I think if Anthony Richardson is going to allow him to be better because Anthony Richardson's going to take attention off the defense. So yeah, I still believe in Jonathan Taylor. He's my number 10 running. At number 9, we have Derrick Henry. Definitely has lost a step. This is just a reoccurring trend for these last two guys. But Derrick Henry's still Derrick Henry. And I don't blame the Ravens for giving him a bag to sign there. He's the strongest running back in the league. He just has lost some of that contact balance that made him so good originally, but he still has that speed. When you get him in open field, you're not tackling him, quite simply. He's gonna outrun you, or he's gonna run through you. But yeah, especially at the line of scrimmage, he doesn't have the same acceleration that he used to have, not the same contact balance. He's still great though, don't get me wrong, and he's going to do great in Baltimore. Number 8, and this might seem a little high, it's Devon Achane. The only knock on Achane is injuries and lack of carries, but he averaged 8 yards to carry and over 100 carries. Was one of the biggest surprises this season, coming from a third round pick and being one of the most explosive running backs in the league. This man could take the ball and it could go 80 yards to the house easily. His speed is unmatched. And his ability just to find the holes, find the creases, and just explode. And just, he's incredible. He's an incredible running back, and people are going to see that next year. I think he's going to be a lot more involved in the Dolphins offense. And I feel like people are going to see how deadly he can be. At number 7, we have Breece Hall. Breece Hall's lack of production, I have a feeling, has something to do with the fact that the Jets' O-line last year was arguably the worst in the league. He's going to have an upgraded offensive line and a lot less attention taken off him now that Rodgers is in. And, they have a quarterback who can actually throw the ball. But Breece Hall is one of those guys that has big play potential all the time. You just see this man, and he just is breaking off screen passes, tosses, just to the house. If you give him the edge, he's going to win that interaction. I do want to see how he does behind a good offensive line and not being the focal point of an offense. So we'll see next year. He'll probably end up being higher, but for now, he is number 7. And number 6, we got Bijan Robinson, another rookie. I know the production wasn't there, but I blame Arthur Smith, man. He did not get the carries he deserved. Bijan could fully be a workhorse back and would not be affected by it, but he wasn't for no reason besides Arthur Smith, like Tyler Algier. Even though Tyler Algier was so much worse than Bijan, I don't understand it. Bijan, I think the only knock of him is he does fumble a decent amount, but I'm willing to sacrifice that. When this man starts getting carries and starts being used in the pass game, he's honestly partially a really good receiver as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see him hopefully in an offense that actually uses him and with a quarterback who can get him the ball. At number 5, we have Saquon Barkley. Oh, Eagles fans are not going to be happy about this one. This seems really low for Saquon, I know. And the production was not there, but the Giants had one of the worst offensive lines I have ever seen. Him and Breece Hall just have that problem for some reason. So I'm not going to fully knock him for that. But also, it does seem like he has lost a step, especially since that year where he straight up just carried the Giants. It was basically the same team, but for some reason he had worse production this year. The entire Giants was worse this year for no reason besides they were just one-year wonders. Other than that, though, I really like Saquon still. He's still that elusive back. He can make any guy miss in the open field. He'll win. You're going to need multiple guys to tackle him. He'll win any one-on-one interaction, I have a feeling. And he's a great threat in the receiving game. So with a great offensive line, he should be great next year. Could be higher on this list. At number 4, we have Kyren Williams. I don't think people realize how good of a season he was. He missed 5 games and was top 3 in rushing yards. I think that's all I have to say. But the injuries do scare me a bit. That's just kind of knocking him on the list. He could easily be 2. His injuries scare me a bit, but when he was healthy, he was one of the best running backs in the league. That's why I have him at 4. A lot of people don't put him this high. I do, because I watched Kyren Williams play, and he was going off every time. every time he got to get on that field. I just want to see him fully healthy. We could be looking at a top 2 guy right now if he can just stay healthy. At number 3, of another rookie, it's Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs, it took some time for the Lions to start using him. Once they started using him, though, he never looked back, man. That he's one of the fastest guys in the league. He is so explosive. He can just find the holes. He's a great threat in the receiving game. He is part of the reason the Lions made the NFC Championship, and he will continue to be the reason the Lions are continuously going to be a top team in the league. Crazy to be saying that about the Detroit Lions, but they have found a gem. I didn't like the pick at the time, but I love it now. If you're going to get that kind of production out of a running back, picking him top 12, totally valid. Jahmyr Gibbs, you're going to be number 3 on my list. And number 2 is a bit of a dicey one. It's Nick Chubb. When Nick Chubb's healthy, he's arguably the best running back in the league. But that injury scares me. So I'm going to keep him at 2, and I'm not going to elaborate too much on this, because I don't know what we're going to be thinking of him next year, because that injury might have just ruined him. Because that is a very serious injury. He's 30. He's coming to the end of a running back life cycle. So, yeah. We're just going to move on from Nick Chubb. But he's going to be number 2, because when healthy, he is one of the best in the league. And at number 1, with no explanation needed, is Christian McCaffrey. It's kind of boring when every single list just has the exact same number 1, and there's no difference. Like, the best QB in the league is Mahomes, obviously. And the best receivers in the league are Tyreek and Jefferson. There's no debate here with CMC. His year was insane last year. He was the anchor of the 49ers and was a very, very heavy MVP candidate. If he won it last year, I would have been mad. And I am of the belief that running backs are not that valuable. CMC was that valuable because he's not just a running back. He's also a receiver. He is what Kyle Shanahan wanted Deebo Samuels to be. And Deebo didn't want that role because he was afraid of getting hurt. CMC is willing to take that workload. And I know this is a weird stat, but he led the league in first downs last year, which is kind of a weird stat until you realize that first downs keep drives alive. So leading the league in it is a big deal. So yeah, CMC... shouldn't need to explain my logic. CMC is the best running back in the league. And that's going to be all for today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.